Hey everybody. So today I wanted to talk about my mindset on change. And I might go more into depth on this on a Failure Friday type video, and that's again where I talk about stupid stuff that I've done and what I learned from it. But at least for today, I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about a couple major points on what I've learned about how to make incremental changes in my life. This brand that I'm creating currently under the name Cornish Life Solutions is really all about making those 1% changes to make your life 1% better when these ideas go out and hit you where you're at. But I think there's an important assumption in there that you want to make something 1% better instead of drastically changing your life all at once. And I think that assumption is valid because think of it this way. Let's say we're in a made-up universe with some different physical properties than what we actually see to be real in this world. Say that you're walking across a little ravine and you're building a bridge, basically using your own mind. But let's say that in this world, things only exist for as long as you can actually remember that you have willed them into existence. So you're walking across this bridge, one step at a time. Each piece is kind of manifesting as you think about it, but you get out halfway to the bridge, and let's say you can only remember having done 5 to 7 things at a time. Well, then those previous steps you've taken at the beginning of the bridge, they start to disappear, so the people following behind you fall to their unfortunate deaths. And kind of a really weird analogy. I probably could have picked something that actually has some real world relevance, but that's kind of what you're doing to yourself if you try to make drastic changes at a time, or at least that's one aspect of how I've failed to make changes in my life. Because I would try to change my life in some major direction which would have all of these different subcomponents to it, and inevitably I couldn't hold all of these different ideas in my mind all at the same time for long enough for them to get traction. And certain books have talked about this. One great one would be Switch on Your Brain by Dr. Carolyn Leaf. She talks about the process of how thoughts and habits are automatized, something like that. I don't know. It's basically where conscious thought gets overtaken by the subconscious mind and written into habits that just happen on their own. If you try to implement too many things at a time, your conscious mind will be overloaded in actually trying to keep all of those at the forefront and actually act on them, and you won't act on them for long enough for them to be picked up by the subconscious mind and turned into habits. And so that's pretty much all I had to say on that, other than one last point. Got my little legal pad here. Something else that I've noticed with when I'm trying to change things in my life is that there's a ramp-up period, and oftentimes things get worse before they get better. And so if I'm trying to change a whole bunch of different things at a time, I tend to get discouraged because it'll all feel like it's going super great and I'll be super motivated, changing all of these things in my life. I'm gonna, build this huge business next week and be financially independent in the next 4 months, and just ultimately all turns sour one idea at a time, because unfortunately the way life works, oftentimes, weirdly, at least in my experience, maybe other people have a different perspective on this, but I've found that I have a lot of beginner's luck in the beginning, and it encourages me to make a change. But then I really suck at it. It's like a curve. I really suck at something for a while. I have to keep pushing through and building that habit because I know mentally that the change is something that I want to make. And then on the other end of actually gaining some expertise and actually having those thoughts be turned into habits, that's when it actually becomes a useful change that improves my life. So that's what I wanted to say about that. My mindset on changing a little bit every day, and I hope that was useful.